this relatively mild weather delayed the expected attacks, missile attacks from the Russian forces on the Ukrainian infrastructure, critical infrastructure like the substations, power stations. So in a way, we haven't yet suffered this winter, this autumn from this.
Let's start, I suppose, with the most recent developments. I mean, what's the feeling in Ukraine as this conflict unfolds in the Middle East and sucks all the oxygen out of the attention, I suppose, the global attention that Ukraine was getting?
That's a very good question because, at the first blush, the life in Ukraine seems to get back to normal, but at the same time, the autumn also brought the fatigue of the war, the questions about what's next, what the nearest future is bringing. And of course, when the new wave of escalation happened in Israel and Gaza, the Ukrainians started posing questions whether the help from the Western ally will be suspended or decreased. So of course, these questions are all around. But and of course, the election in our neighboring countries, in Poland, Slovakia, the questions what will happen in the US next year. So this inevitably adds some stress and I can say even depression to this changing autumn time.
And is there any pressure on President Zelensky to hold an election, or is that something that's very much parked until after the war?
Not from the Ukrainian society. There are rumors, of course, that Ukrainian president wants to hold the election next year, March next year, 31st of March. But during the martial law, there is no legal
obligation,
legal ground for this to do that. And the martial law will be extended on the 16th of November. And Ukrainian population also is against the election because we would want the money allocated for the election to be spent on the Ukrainian army.
You mentioned, fatigue about the Ukraine war from abroad, outside of Ukraine's borders. What about with the population themselves? I mean, how is life now as this war drags on, but often in places, beyond where the mass of the population is? So, I mean, tell me about life in Kyiv at the moment.
Well, that's what I mentioned. October brought, with decrease in daylight, also brought the fears about the upcoming winter. This relatively mild weather delayed the expected attacks, missile attacks from the Russian forces on the Ukrainian infrastructure, critical infrastructure like the substations, power stations. So in a way, we haven't yet suffered this winter, this autumn from this. But indeed, there is a fatigue of war, and it's in every sphere of life, and adaptation as well, because we managed to live in this situation. Children know how to behave during the air raid alerts as they go underground. There are young in the primary school, and there are several primary schools in Kharkiv that studies underground in the metro, in the subway, but also with this recent situation in the Eastern Front, when a lot of military unfortunately died because of the escalation in Kupiansk and Avdiivka. There are also every man right now in Ukraine, and not only men, also women, they ask themselves about the mobilization, because this is another question everyone asks themselves about accepting the destiny and sticking to the duty of the Ukrainian citizen.